Welcome to Link Comparisons. I'm Kian O'Connor, and in this course we'll go over an introduction to link comparisons, the different types of link comparisons, and finally how to weigh different link comparisons. So in this first lesson, we'll be going over an introduction to link comparisons. So what are link comparisons? A link comparison is a reason to prefer your offense over your opponent's offense, so it's a type of weighing argument. However, what makes link comparisons different than traditional weighing arguments is because instead of giving a metric as to why your opponents are or why your argument outweighs your opponent's, for example, giving a mechanism like scope, probability, or time frame, you would instead say why your argument affects your opponent's impact in some way. And so the reason it's called a link comparison is because you are comparing links into the same impact as opposed to comparing different impacts, which is what traditional weighing covers. So an example of a link comparison would be if in a round, one team is running an argument with a war impact, while another is running a foreign direct investment argument. And so in summary, the team that's running the war argument gets up there and says that stopping a war is a prerequisite, or another way of saying this is turns their argument to FDI because investors won't invest in a war zone out of fear that their investments will get destroyed. And so as you can see, instead of giving an independent reason as to why war is a more important argument than FDI, what this team does would instead say that war stops the other team from solving FDI, so it co-opts their impact and gives a reason as to why their argument affects their impact instead of giving an independent reason as to why they outweigh. So how to make a link comparison? So the first thing you want to do is you want to choose a link, internal link, or impact from one of your arguments, and you want to explain how that piece of your argument affects a piece of your opponent's arguments. So the questions you want to ask yourself when trying to think of a link comparison is, does your argument stop them from solving their impact? Or does your argument cause their impact? Or does your argument solve for their impact? And if the answer to any of those questions is yes, then you should be able to make a link comparison with that argument. So why are link comparisons useful? So the thing that's really great about link comparisons is that they give you access to two impacts instead of one, because now not only do you have the impact that you read on your argument, but you are also able to access your opponent's impacts as well, while they only have access to one impact. And the really useful thing about this is that because you co-opt your opponent's impact, you also co-opt your opponent's weighing, and it gives you access to their weighing. And that's really important because even if your opponent wins the weighing debate, you can still make inroads to their argument. So for example, if you're running a poverty argument and a team that's running war says that their war argument outweighs because death is irreversible and poverty isn't, even if that's true, if you read a link comparison as to why poverty causes war, you're also able to access their own severity weighing, and now they are no longer able to beat you with it. Additionally, link comparisons also increase efficiency because now you don't have to address individual weighing arguments because you are able to co-opt your opponent's weighing with a link comparison. So if your opponent gets up there and does like 5 really big pieces of weighing, they give you scope, time frame, severity, all of that. If you just read one link comparison, you can just say that we also link into their impact. Therefore, we also co-opt all of their weighing too. So you don't have to address each individual argument and you're still able to cover the entirety of the weighing debate. So here are some general trends in the usage of link comparisons. So because link comparisons consolidate the weighing debate so well for the reasons that we just talked about, teams are increasingly relying on them. And so as these arguments become more common, knowing how to interact and weigh against them is becoming increasingly important because as teams use more link comparisons, you're going to have to be able to need to respond to those arguments so they don't just beat you with them on face. So in conclusion, link comparisons are a form of weighing where you impact into your opponent's impact. And link comparisons consolidate the weighing debate by co-opting the other team's weighing, giving you huge advantages in round.